Doesn't
All
look
right.
like we're open to everybody yet.
No, I'm just starting the webinar here. Okay. Should be launching everything, and looks like people are filing in. All right. Hi, Michelle. How are you?
Good morning, everybody. Hi. Thank you all for being here. Glad to have everybody joining us here today for the What's New in Desktop 2022. Gosh, it seems weird saying 2022.
This is a rarity to have almost two back-to-back webinars talking about desktop related things. So this we needed some help today. So welcome to another QB Power Hour. Today again, we're going to be talking about what's new in QuickBooks 2022. Hey, that rhymes. So we'll be oops. Okay, go to the next slide. Michelle, you want to introduce yourself?
Good morning, everybody. Michelle Long, CPA with an MBA in entrepreneurship and the owner of Long for Success. Very glad to have you guys joining us today. Today, I don't want to mention my books at all, but I want to mention a special book that I got from Veeam. So Veeam is a payment processing app. But anyway, it's the ultimate guide to accounting, a nice, big, hardback book that any accounting professional would love to have on their shelves. But its best idea is the content.
Is that not the best? Closer to the
yes. So I have a nice little flask that I could take to the Chiefs games now. And inside it says, when I read about the evils of drinking, I gave up reading. So anyway, shout out to Veeam for sending me this. I always love swag, and this was an especially fun one. So thank you, Veeam. You guys can check them out. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, my name is Dan DeLong, owner of Danwith. Worked at Intuit for about 18 years, co-host for today, and also do a weekly workshop Wednesdays where, oddly enough, we'll be talking about the same thing on the workshop Wednesday, what's new in 2022. That's brought to you by schoolbookkeeping.com, where I'm the chief content creator and also tech editor for the QBO for Dummies series available on Amazon. Joining us today is another guest. So Ted, you want to introduce us? Who are you and why should we listen to you?
Yeah, that's a bold opening, right?
It's funny. I brought it up because I remember when you were on last time, somebody missed your introduction and they asked that question in the chat, like, who is this guy?
I've been getting that question all my life, so it's nothing new. Wonderful to be with all of you again. Thanks for having me back, Dan. My name is Ted Callahan, and I've been at Intuit 4 years, and I am the somewhat new accountant business leader. So if you all knew Arij, I am the new Arij, or the successor to Arij. Like Dan said, I've been doing a lot of different things, but my top priority has really been getting out into the community to get to know as many of you all as I can and make sure that all of our bold vision and plans are really anchored in the feedback from all of you. And so I've got a really contemporary read on that, as well as our broader teams across Intuit. We are responsible for providing not just the tools within QuickBooks Online for Accountant, but also shepherding the Pro Advisor program, which includes all kinds of fabulous training for you. And we launched just last week the new Payroll certification on the Pro Advisor cert. So if you all are payroll specialists, I encourage you all to go check that out. Another way you can be differentiating your practice. I also love to play guitar. I only played in original bands until I was in business school, and then I was in my first cover band. So
wow.
That slide is a little misleading, I think. But it was so much fun. I was like, wow, I wish I'd been less serious and been doing that more frequently. But great to be here, and it looks like Dan's having some technical issues. So Michelle, I'll hand it back to you to get Sean introduced.
All right, thank you. Yeah, Sean, would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself? And Dan, you might just keep the video off.
I think that's probably a better idea.
Yes, there we go. Sean, go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sean Sturgeon. I'm a product marketing manager for QuickBooks Desktop Core. So that's like our Pro Plus, Premier Plus, Mac Plus products. Been with the team for about 3 years. Before that, my background is consumer packaged goods and brand management. But in my current role, I focus on the roadmap and also communication of those features, as well as just other communication strategies in general and new product launches. I'm also a U.S. Army veteran, as a fun fact. Happy to be with you guys today, and I'll be helping to answer some questions as they come along.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for your service, Sean.
Thank
We're
you.
very glad to have you joining us.
Yes, thank you for your service, Sean.
Thank you.
All right, so hopefully you can hear me okay. About the QB webinars, they're every other Tuesday at noon Eastern. Today, of course, we'll be talking about what's new in QuickBooks 2022 desktop. We'll also be talking next time the advanced users and role. We're going to be talking about customer service for accounting firms. One of the things that Ted is very passionate about is customer service and how the accountant care team is working with accountants. But we'll be talking not for customer service for accounting firms, provide customer service to their customers. And of course, we have the
Okay, Dan, we are losing you.
Looks
Yeah.
like Michelle.
Dan, I am going to go ahead and take over and share my screen. So,
I'm
okay,
back.
you're back? Okay, well, Dan, why don't I run the slides and you can
Okay.
talk
You
on video
drive.
only? I'll drive, yes.
Okay, all right. Oh my goodness.
All right,
Well,
so
and one of the things that is always surprising is where am I going to be?
yes.
And today I'm in Pennsylvania. We drove up the weekend from Charleston to Pennsylvania. If any of you don't know, I'm working remotely from the road. So we're always surprised on what service we have.
Yes. So where
Wherever we
in
happen to
the
be.
hell RV, right? Well, in the hell RV.
It's called
That's-
whatthehellrvdoing.com. Yeah.
There you go. All right. Well, okay. So I think you covered the whole what's new or the details about the QB Power Hour, the upcoming ones. There's the link for the slides, the recordings, and the podcast if you all should need that. So we're very glad to have you joining us. A couple of admin things before we get into it. On the Q&A, please answer those in the Q&A box because that makes it easier for us as well as some of the Intuit helpers to answer your questions, whereas in the chat, they do get kind of lost. But if you want to chat with one another and just put some comments and stuff, please go ahead and use the chats there. And then once again, we do have the handouts for you where you go get a PDF of the slides. And then we have some special resources surrounding the new stuff in desktop, and we'll share that with you a little bit later. Dan, you want to do the agenda?
Yeah, so today we'll be talking about, again, what's new. We'll talk about the themes for this year's version of 2022, where it's really based on faster, some speed issues. Hopefully, can't do anything about my internet speed, but at least for QuickBooks, we'll be talking about the speed issues that are addressed this year. Less data entry, money management, some connected service improvements, as well as the big drive around the Plus subscription, and then we'll just open it up for Q&A. We do have the link there for Linda Madeira's Firm of the Future article, so you can get that from the slides as well, and as well as on our QB Power Hour website, we have a link directly to that as well. So all of that is summed up today, and we have a little contest on the next slide, or promotion maybe, to spread the word. Desktop is not dead. So on our website, the QB Power Hour website, there is a way for you to share this webinar. We're live streaming it as well on YouTube. Hopefully that didn't break during that. But if you go to, and I'm going to put it in the chat, the webinar replay that will be there. We'll have the podcast as well as all of the slides is listed there. Down at the bottom, there's a way to share on Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn, WhatsApp, or send it out via email. If you share it, if you share that page, just go ahead and put that back in the Q&A, how you shared it. And then what we'll do is we'll enter you into a drawing for a $100 gift card. We'll spin that later. And also I did twist Ted and Ted's arm so that there'll be a second place for some Intuit swag. So go ahead and just share that from the QB Power Hour website, and then enter in the Q&A how you shared it, whether it was Facebook or Twitter, LinkedIn, however you did that, and then that will enter you into the drawing for for the gift card. So moving on.
Wonderful. Sorry about that.
All right, we'll go ahead and launch our first poll. Because it's always a good question to kind of frame our webinars. What version of QuickBooks are your clients using? Is it desktop, online, both, or not applicable?
Very good. And Don Bobbitt wants to know, does the store for ProAdvisor items still exist? In the marketplace, we had that store where you could go buy shirts and logoed merchandise, and it seems like it went away for a while. What is the status of that? Does anybody know?
It's a great question. One of the, as I said, I've been getting to know the community and talking to you all, and one of the big findings for me was the power of the QuickBooks merchandise to help you grow your practice, right? When we can be out circulating in the world. And so that was definitely one of the items I took back to the team saying, hey, we need to bring this back. So stay tuned.
Wonderful.
But definitely we've heard the kind of business reason why it's so powerful for you all.
Well, yes. So Ted, in one of the sessions that I was doing at QuickBooks Connect a few years ago, I was telling everybody, because it was a marketing session, and I told them, wear QuickBooks merchandise everywhere you go, whether it's a hat, a shirt, a pin, wear something, because people will ask you, oh, you know QuickBooks? And so it was actually, I think it was Blake Oliver. Blake or Blaine? Blake Oliver. Sorry, I had a mind freeze there. Anyway, he was on his way. So QuickBooks Connect had a store. He went in the store and bought a vest. And in the airport on the way home, somebody asked him about QuickBooks and he got a new client. So he was immediately following up. Oh my God, it already paid for the vest, So it definitely works. People will see that merchandise and they will ask you questions. So yes, if you all make it easy for us to order things, I think that is awesome. So thank you for that.
The issue was that not enough of you were coming and using the store, and so that's why it was wound down.
Okay.
So it's like, I think we'll have to do some similar kind of raffle type giveaway to get folks to get after it, so that they're aware.
Exactly.
Very good.
Share the store.
All right. So Dan, on the raffle giveaway that we're doing, everybody's putting in our Q&A here for this webinar that they just shared. Do you want them to put it here in the Q&A, or did you want them to put it on that page for QB Power Hour?
In here on the Q&A, so I can collect who did what, and then we'll be able to do a prize wheel later on this afternoon.
I gotcha. All right. Okay. And there's our results. You can see we had a pretty even spread between desktop and online. The vast majority, 71%, are both. So thank you all for answering that question. And I'm going to go ahead and move on. Okay. Dan, you want to go ahead and take this one? Whoops.
Yep. Yeah. So the themes for 2022, it's kind of broken down into money management, data synchronization, and speed. And then there's some extra things about some enhancements with connected services. So we'll be talking about these different themes. Now, when I first got a sneak peek at 2022, a lot of, I'll be quite honest and transparent, a lot of the my first initial reactions were, yeah, QuickBooks Online already does that. And I think that that is going to resonate, I think, with people that use both. But I think the really good call out about that is that when I worked there, things were very siloed between the different departments in QuickBooks. So what I took out of that was that, hey, these departments are now communicating with each other, and that gap between the difference between QuickBooks Online and desktop is closing. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide, and we'll start to dive into some of these things. So first is a feature you cannot see, right? 64-bit support, which is which is, this is an under the hood feature. But the thing is that it's for all versions, and QuickBooks itself has been a 32-bit program forever, right? And Windows operating systems are, I forget when it was launched, but operating systems and the chipset inside of your computer has been 64-bit for a really long time. And the Windows is stopping support for 32-bit programs, so we really needed to kind of get on the. Oh, we lost.
I'm
lost
sorry.
The slide.
Sorry. I was trying to share the link with somebody. I forgot I was
Oh.
sharing. Sorry. Let me get back to Zoom. Come back. Oh wait, I was on the slides.
Yeah,
Sorry.
We're all not immune to the to the technical issues here today.
My bad. I'm sorry.
There
I
we
was
go.
trying to post the link in the Q&A. I'll be careful. I apologize. Go ahead.
Not a problem. We are human. But 64-bit is ultimately going to make QuickBooks faster, increase its stability, and you're going to have some consistency with third-party applications who are 64-bit that integrate with QuickBooks. So it boils down to what can you say? You know, I think in the next slide we have just how much faster is it, right? Because the lab testing and real world examples of doing it, there are far too many things that other people have on their computer to say, yeah, it'll be that much faster, right? But in the lab, they did the lab testing on the average file size of 1 gigabyte, which is a pretty large file, running a profit and loss detail on accrual, which is a pretty gnarly report. And it was 38% faster. And the other testing that they did with the 400 megabyte file and a customer transaction detail report, it was 31% faster. So ultimately, what it boils down to is that this will make QuickBooks more stable and increase its performance issues. So for nothing else, that is a good reason to upgrade your QuickBooks desktop because Windows is already 64-bit, and it will just increase the stability and the performance issues that you have in a larger company file. Michelle, did you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I not thoughts, but just, first of all, I think it's great because yes, everybody always wants things to work faster. But I did have a question for you. Like, aren't all the computers now 64-bit? Like, how old would their computer have to be for them to have a 32-bit? Because desktop won't. It's not just that it's maximized for 64 now. It won't run on 32 anymore. Is that correct?
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to have a pretty old computer.
Okay.
To only have a 32-bit computer.
Most people should be okay.
Yeah, I can actually answer. So 64-bit support started in around, I think it was 2007, but most computers built after 2012 were 64-bit.
Gotcha. Okay.
But 64-bit is two things. One is the hardware itself, and then the second part is the software. So as long as you're on Windows, I think it's 8.1 or newer, and your computer was 2012 or after, then there's literally a 99% chance that you're compatible. It's those older computers or people that on Windows older than 8.1 that may need to update their software or hardware.
Okay. Thank you, Sean, for that clarification.
Yeah, and Linda asks, does that mean that QB files can grow a lot larger? Or what does that mean, as far as 64-bit supported and what the file size could ultimately grow to?
So we haven't specifically tested larger sizes. What we do know is that it is more stable. And typically this instability in the past was caused by larger files. So in theory, yes, as you are dealing with larger files, they should be more stable and also faster. As you saw in the example here, the larger this file size, the faster the speed increase that we saw. And the 1 gigabyte file was typical for ES customers, our enterprise customers, and the 400 megabyte file was more for the average plus customer.
Got it. All right, moving on. So enough about, I mean, we could spend all day just talking about the 64-bit and what that means for a lot of people, and hypothesize. If you have a specific question about that, go ahead and enter that in the Q&A. We have a lot of people from Intuit helping out answer some of those questions. So go ahead and throw that in there. If they can't answer it, they'll reach out to you with an answer. Okay, so some of the other features that are available now because of the shift to a subscription-based model is the ability to enhance some of the functionality that's available with the mobile app. And uploading bills is now available in QuickBooks Desktop now. So all desktop versions, if you were using the Pro Plus in 2021, this is an enhancement to the receipt management. So you were able to snap a picture of the receipt and send that to the receipt section of the bank feeds and manage those things. So now you can do that with a bill, right? So you'll be able to upload and review the bills through the mobile app, and you can also forward that through email. Next slide. But everything has a but, right? But right now you can't assign customers in class with those with the bill management. So that is something that, of course, is now that we've got a framework. Now they can increase those enhancements as things move on. Moving on.
But it is nice that now, those people that are like going to the hardware store, buying supplies or whatever, going to get gas, they can take a picture of that and capture it. So that's great. I think it's awesome.
Exactly. And along with that, you can attach documents from the mobile. So in addition to uploading bills or receipts, you can attach just any other document, right? So again, also for all versions, you just snap a photo, you can crop it. I've included the tutorial of how to do those things, so it'll give you a nice demonstration of how that actually happens. And you can upload that to the document center. Next. This is a few other screenshots of what you see in the mobile versus what you see in the desktop. And of course, there is a but. Right. So right now it's only JPEGs. And you can attach them from the app. So what it does is it puts that in the document center. So when you take a picture of something that you're going to be documenting or wanting to attach, it'll put it in the document center so that when you bring up that transaction, you click on the little paperclip icon, and that brings up the document center from the mobile, and then you can easily attach it from there. Moving on. All right, so now you can pay bills with Melio, right? So if you're using QuickBooks Online and the deep integration that paying bills and scheduling payments through Melio is, you can now use, it's a similar workflow inside of desktop. So all desktop versions, you can pay your bills through Melio using their banking options. So same thing, it's free-ish as they call it, right? So it's free for ACH. No bank charges. You don't have to sign up for your own bank's direct integration into the bank feeds to send the online payments. And they typically will charge a fee for that. You can also pay with credit cards. So if you pay your bills that are typically not payable through credit cards, you can almost give yourself a float by being able to do that. Of course, there is where the ish parts of the free-ish comes in, and you would pay the credit card transaction processing fee to be able to do that. But if you're short on cash flow, it's a great way to float yourself and there's a tutorial on the YouTube link as well.
Yeah, but
There is a yeah, but right. So if you're using Melio Accountant with your QuickBooks Online, it does not synchronize to outside of the desktop file. So so you wouldn't be able to use the approval process that's in Melio Accountant or the scheduling outside of that. It's all within the desktop file, and you can only pay one bill with one payment. So if you have small bills to pay and you want to pay multiple bills, paying them with Melio wouldn't work specifically. You'd have to figure out some way to consolidate that into one larger bill and then schedule the one payment. Next slide. All right, so let's launch the next poll.
Are you launching or am I launching?
I am trying to find it. Where is it? There it is. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to launch it here. So, are you planning to attend QB Connect? Ted, when is QB Connect coming up?
It's coming up November, first week in November, November 3rd and 4th. And the exciting thing is November 4th is going to be an accountant-only focused day of programming that we're going to have for all of y'all.
Last year, was it just one day or was it 2 days?
It was last year because of the virus that's been running around. We had to scramble a lot of our plans. And so it was only one day. And so this year it's now 2 days. It's still virtual, just for everybody's right, just to set all the context. Mm-hmm. Because of out of an abundance of caution, we're still not in a place where we're encouraging big, sets of folks to come get together. So we have a 2-day virtual event planned, and we'll post a link in the chat for everybody to go check it out if you were unaware. But it'd be great to have everyone there.
It's like pretty split here. Let me go ahead and share the results. About 42% are planning to attend. So it looks like going to have some good attendance here from our audience. All right. So now some of the other functions or features in 2022, being able to choose multiple contacts. So when you have multiple contacts for multiple email addresses for your clients. When you're setting up the customers, you can have multiple fields that are email addresses. Maybe you have a situation where billing for sales goes in one place and proposals go to another. So you can have multiple email addresses set up on the customer file. If you had done that in the past, it would be either all or nothing, right? It would send it to everybody or it would send to nobody. Now you'll have the ability to when you have those multiple email addresses set up, when you go to send forms, you'll then be able to just select the email addresses that you wanted to send to. Very similar to like what you see with Outlook when you start typing, it'll recognize that and put the contact information there. So it's just a lot easier to select from multiple contacts. This is a blurry image.
Oops. Oopsie, let's just carry on.
So being able to customize an email bill payment stub. So bill payment stubs is now a form template in the send forms option so that you can customize that email bill payment stub when you're sending that to your vendors to let them know what you paid. So you can add things like your logo and things of that nature that you may want to customize how that bill payment stub want to look. Again, this is for all versions of desktop. It avoids extra steps. A lot of people were doing that, outside of QuickBooks to customize it the way they want. And then you can do this and email multiple vendors at the same time. So if you kind of look back at some of the functionality, being able to use Melio and a lot of those features around bill payments is allowing you to just streamline your processes on the payment side or the AP side of the house with 2022. Moving on. All right, and the only feature in Enterprise it's getting a look at is custom bill approvals. So if you're using QuickBooks Online Advanced, and remember us doing the QB Power Hour about that function, you do have now the custom bill approvals. You can set conditions that require that approval prior to the bills are sent for payment. So this is for Enterprise. I had some conflicting information about which version that actually was available for. I saw it in one place where it said it was for Platinum and higher, or I also saw that it was also in all versions of Enterprise, but it is an Enterprise only feature, whether that's Platinum or all versions. Maybe we can get some clarity on that, as well as the Accountant Edition. So this will be, just give you some extra security. And all of that then is done in QuickBooks, and we have the link for the tutorial as well.
And Dan, I just wanted to point out on the link for the tutorials, I've had a few people saying, oh, this link doesn't work, that one doesn't work. So on the links, on our QB Power Hour website, there is a page under archives, and Dan will have it out there, and it's going to have links to Laura Madera's article. That's a great article she does every year on what's new in QuickBooks. It's on Firm of the Future. It's on her website, quick-training.com. Well, thank you, Laura. It's like 22 pages again. So you have the link to that article, plus there's a video, a little tutorial on each one of these new features. All right, so Dan's going to put those all in one convenient spot where you guys can access all those. And evidently I was typing in the link for the handouts and somebody else shared the right link. So thank you for that. I'm scared to copy and paste again. I'm scared I'll mess something up. So don't worry about the links. They will all be there available for you.
Yeah, I tried to make one-stop shopping for everyone, all on the QB Power Hour website. So another thing with data synchronization and the data synchronization theme is e-commerce integration is becoming deeply integrated into QuickBooks Desktop. So there'll be a direct integration with WebAgility in all desktop. You did it again.
I know. See, I'm sorry. Somebody else put that link out there. I can't copy and paste. It won't let me. Sorry. I'll behave.
Sit on your hands, Michelle. No,
I know.
We need you to advance the slides, please. But all desktop versions if anybody has used WebAgility with QuickBooks Point of Sale, it's already deeply integrated. You'll be able to synchronize with multiple online sales channels. The nice part about what I really like about WebAgility is the inventory synchronization. So that if you're tracking your inventory inside of QuickBooks and you sell something through an invoice, that quantity on hand will flow back all the way to your online sales channel. So if you're doing selling on Amazon, we had the panel last week, Amazon, eBay, and Shopify. All of those sales channels will be in synchronization because of the ability of WebAgility to synchronize that back and forth. So it's a really powerful e-commerce synchronization. Takes a lot of the headaches out of posting things on your listing things on your websites to sell, as well as that deep sales integration and integrate inventory sync between QuickBooks and desktop, and it is supported in a hosted environment. So if you're using Right Networks or some of the other cloud hosts, WebAgility has already gotten the seal of approval from those hosts to be in that environment as well.
And I think, Dan, this is one of my favorites. In addition, I like the faster with 64-bit, but this is one of my favorites because so many of our clients, the push to e-commerce has been so great because of COVID and everything. So I really like this integration. I think that's one of my favorite new features.
Yeah, and we did put a link to when WebAgility would join the QB Power Hour. So if you want to learn a little bit more about what WebAgility does, that link is in there as well. So now we're going to talk a little bit about some of the connected service improvements. So payments and payroll got got some looks at with desktop. Again, you might say, hey, this QuickBooks Online already does this, and that's true. But again, it's nice to close that gap between the two. So payment links is something that you can do now in desktop. And what a payment link is very similar to a statement charge in desktop, right? So if you didn't have to necessarily create an invoice, a whole invoice, you can just create a statement charge, and then that flows into the accounts receivable balance for your customer. Payment links are very similar to that. So if you have a late charge, for example, or some other service charge that you just want to invoice somebody, bill somebody for, you can create that as a payment link, and then you'll be able to send that link to them from directly from your QuickBooks, email it to them or however, and they can make that payment, and that flows back into QuickBooks. And the ability to accept same-day deposits. Now, this is not a free thing. If you're needing instant access to the money that comes in, you can pay an additional fee, and then that will, I think it's 30 minutes is the time to actually have access to those funds. So you can get those instant payments as well as the payment links in the payments in 2022. Moving on to payroll. So payroll also got some increased enhancements. So next day direct deposit. So if you can schedule your payroll to go by 5 p.m. Pacific time the day before, and it will still be funded in the employee's bank account the next day. And also the activation process got some simplification, which if you've ever onboarded anybody for payroll, especially the assisted payroll service, both of these functions are just for the assisted payroll service. If you've ever onboarded somebody, a lot of times there's a lot of back and forth between that. So the client can actually do some of these things to get onboarded much faster. There's some tasks that they'll be able to do on their end and just kind of check off as they do that. So the question about is next day DD automatic? I think maybe we can address that. If you put the specific questions about the functionality, if you put those in the Q&A, we can have our folks that are helping us with from Intuit to be able to address those or take those offline if need be. Next. All right, so last year we got our taste of what's the word? Encouragement of Plus subscriptions. Now today it's only subscription only. There's no way to get QuickBooks Desktop without a subscription. But what's included in that is there's customer support, every new version, and then you also have some Intuit Data Protect. Sean, maybe you could speak to a little bit about what the Plus subscription includes and maybe the direction of how that subscription is actually headed.
Sure, yeah, happy to. So our Plus subscriptions, that's Pro Plus and Premier Plus, are essentially the same core software product as our Pro and Premier products, but include a lot of additional benefits and services for our customers. One of those is being access to the latest version. So every year or whatever frequency cadence that may occur in the future, whenever a new version is released, customers will always have access to that. So that's not only the security patches, that's not only support for the latest operating systems, third-party operating systems like Windows, but it also means new features as they come along. Secondly, there's the Intuit Data Protect, which is essentially a data backup service. We also offer data recovery service for our Plus products. So if a file gets corrupted, the team will, our customer support team will try and help recover that. We also offer unlimited customer support. So no longer do customers have to pay for $300 a year for unlimited customer support and access to our specialists, but it's included with our Plus subscription products. And then there's other things too, which go beyond the actual core product. So it's the same user interface as our old Pro and Premier products, but It includes additional functionality for example, with the mobile app. So we talked about receipt management, and this year we're launching our upload bills, which is basically the equivalent of receipt management. Those are very specific to the mobile app functionality, which is only available with our Plus products. And there will be additional features that will be enhanced with these subscription products that would not have been available had we not kept our subscription lineup. So those are the high level benefits of our Plus products. Obviously, there's a lot of peace of mind that goes along with it, and it should make it for more seamless investment and also for easier upgrades in the future.
Yeah. And if anybody's looking at the chat, this has probably the hornet's nest has probably been stepped on as the words are flying by here.
Yes.
Ted, and that's why we wanted to kind of talk about this last, because we wanted to bring on Ted and Sean to really kind of speak to the Plus subscription model, why and speak to that a little bit. But one of the things I wanted to point out is that, and we didn't even talk about it because it was introduced last year, was the desktop manager is one of those things that that Sean was alluding to, that if you download the desktop manager, the deployment of the new upgrade is making that a lot easier than rather than going and finding where the file is to download. Uninstalling and reinstalling the desktop manager will help manage that update process, so that it is still, you have to download and reinstall and install QuickBooks, but the download manager will help with that, right, Sean?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, but Ted, speak to the masses on the Plus subscription direction.
Yeah. So I've just been watching and reading the chat. So this decision was one that the desktop team I think has been really trying to weigh and think about the right approach and the right time to do this. The ultimate piece that gave I think us comfort as we discussed this and debated it was, right now, if you think about how we're supporting desktop, we've got a team that's split across both versions. Right, that the product that's on desktop, and then also the subscription version. And so there's going to be a bunch of improvements just because of that sole focus on the subscription on the Plus side of the news. The other piece, okay, I saw an icon, look like I just got muted. I think the other piece that was critical here is that I've heard from a number of you, and I would say not all of you, right? To be clear, there's definitely a lot of different pockets of opinion on this issue, like you all have with many different decisions that we make, is that maintaining all of these different versions from each year can become really cumbersome for all of you. I remember talking with a couple who literally showed me 25 different versions that they were maintaining to keep their clients current. And so this move will greatly reduce that administration and the overload. So I think that's just a couple of the points in addition to what Sean already said in terms of where we're headed with the desktop. Sean, anything you want to add on?
No, those are great points. And this also allows us to better focus on the subscription product. So as we looked at our lineup and we had numerous SKUs, numerous offerings across the board, it became very difficult for us to place our always limited resources across all of those. So by focusing on our subscription products, we'll be able to deliver the best value, best product forward for our customers. And this allows us to be more competitive internally versus products like QuickBooks Online, as well as externally. And so we really feel that this is going to be the best way for us to deliver the products that our customers need and deserve.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you already enterprises already adopted this model, and one of the advantages or things that I've noticed about that, just by putting everything on the same playing field, enterprise becomes more of into the conversation when deciding what version of QuickBooks is actually best, because if we have to be on a subscription, regardless of what flavor we're on, it ends up being not as cost prohibitive to, you know, go with the enterprise software in that case, and you're getting, you know, far more features and accountant tools when clients are using that product as well. Michelle, I interrupted you.
Well, no, that's a great point. So I was just going to ask a couple of the questions that people were talking in the typing in the Q&A, and Don had a good one. What if the client drops their subscription? What happens to their data? So let's say the client's been using, you know, 2022, and they go out of business, or they don't pay that subscription next year. It stops working. What about the data? Like, let's say, you know, 2 years from now, they need to access that data. You know, how can they access that data after that subscription expires, and what exactly happens?
So customers will always own their data. So kind of, you know, like the Excel files that you have, you know, with existing traditional Office Excel software, they'll always continue to have that. In terms of accessing the data, that's where they'll need to have an active subscription. So they can always open that file with an accountant that has an active license, with an industry, you know, friend or partner, or someone that has an active license. And we're also looking at other ways now to try to also make that more simple in the future. Can't diverge any details on that at this point, but that is something that we're looking to simplify further.
And so then when it comes to the accountant, as you mentioned that, so as pro advisors, so if we're buying accountant for, you know, for us pro advisors, we're buying the accountant version every year to renew that subscription. Do we have to keep renewing? Like, so if I'm supporting 5 years of desktop, I have to have 5 ongoing subscriptions, or does accountant cover multiple years, or is it each year? Can you kind of explain how that works for people?
Yeah, I'm happy to. Do you want me to address that? Okay. Yeah, so with accountant, if you're on a pro advisor subscription, you'll always have access to the latest version, but you'll continue to have access to prior year versions that you were a subscribing customer, in which you were a subscribing customer. So just taking last year, for example, if you were a pro advisor in 2021 and now that 2022 is released, you'll still get access to 2021 and 2022. So you do not need to maintain multiple subscriptions. There's no change to the pro advisor package in that sense.
I guess one of the slippery slopes that a lot of people will, especially accountants, will, okay, well, what if I have, you know, I'm a pro advisor, desktop pro advisor for 5 years, and then I decide, okay, I'm no longer going to have access to, I don't want to support, but I want to still have access to those older versions. Would that stop those older versions from working, or if they decide to drop the desktop add-on for pro advisor subscription?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Sorry. So let's say I'm a pro advisor, desktop pro advisor for 5 years, and then in 2024 I decide to stop my pro advisor desktop subscription. What happens to those previously installed versions of QuickBooks 2021 all the way up to 2024?
Yeah, so there's no change to the existing pro advisor subscription. So how it's worked in the past in terms of cancellation or access, like that remains unchanged. Okay,
that's what I understood it to be, and I want to make sure that a lot of our accountants understand that as well. That if you no longer have a desktop add-on pro advisor membership, you know, for your pro advisor, your existing software will continue to work, whereas the Pro Plus, the way it is at this point, that would not work if you didn't have an active subscription, correct?
Yeah, the only thing that we're changing this year is just not offering outright licenses for customers. We're not proactively selling any more outright licenses, and so it's just more of a customer-facing subscription. So the way that the Pro Advisor bundle is made up is completely unchanged.
Got it.
Okay, so I saw a lot of comments in the chat about clients are not going to like this, clients are going to be unhappy, yada, yada. So if somebody has a client who really wants to purchase it outright, they need to buy now before December 31st, 2021. Is that correct? Because that's the last outright purchase available. Is that right?
December 10th is
December 10th.
Yeah, December 10th is the last day that 2021 outright will be available. There's no change to the support terms for 2021 or any other prior product for that matter. So typically it's 3.5 years, which for 2021 would be May of 2024 is when that will no longer be supported by connected services. And so after that point, then folks will lose access to any connected services, including bank feeds or payroll or anything like that. In which case they would need to transition to a subscription product in order to continue to be supported.
Okay. Dan, did you have one or you want me to?
No, I go ahead.
Okay, so Susan had a good question in here about the support. And the reason I wanted to ask you all this one is, Ted, I know we've had you on previously, and you were talking about, and I guess that, anyway, you were talking about support. And I know it was either you or Sean that mentioned earlier in this where you talked about support is now going to be included. So can you kind of differentiate what the changes are for support? Because it sounds like it's now going to be included for our clients with their subscription, but how is the support for us pro advisors changing and improving? Because I know I heard somewhere, I thought that you were improving that as well. So can you kind of address that?
Yeah, thank you. And I saw that coming in the chat, and I was going to say, hey, I'd love to take this one live for everybody. So the again, as part of this big listening tour that I've been conducting, I've heard loud and clear from many of you about how we've let you down on customer support. That's something that we own entirely, all the way up to our CEO, Sasan. In most recent accountant council, he was like, hey, I personally have taken this on and asked our customer success leader, Mark Notriani, to make this his #1 priority of resolving accountant support. So that we hear you loud and clear. They're big changes that are coming, and hopefully you all have already seen some of them being rolled out, because we're literally watching each month the milestones and the progress that we're making. So the headline is that for accountants, we are moving support back onshore to the United States with the eye to improving quality for all of you, #1. #2, we're changing how we train our support agents such that they have much deeper understanding of the way that all of you work, so that when you are coming in asking questions, they can understand what you're trying to get done, answer that faster for you. So we're hoping that first time call resolution and the speed with which we address your question will be greatly improved. The other thing that we're doing is that we're starting to try out hiring those that actually have a accounting or bookkeeping background into our support ranks and training them so that they, again, have more of that empathy from where you're coming from. The other big area that we've changed is that we've gotten the feedback specifically with payroll and payments that a lot of the information that our agents were using was out of date. And we've gone through and scrubbed literally hundreds of articles, and indeed they were out of date. And so now we have a continuous feedback approach where we can be upgrading and updating those articles in real time, because as you all know, we're constantly improving the software. We got to keep the knowledge base current with the changes in the software. So those are the big improvements, all with the eye to improving quality for all of you. And that's also going to be coming for your clients as well. We're just starting with you first, because that's where the pain has been greatest. And you all, we recognize you all are, a lot of the times, your clients call you before they call us. And so we want to make sure when you're calling in on your client's behalf, you've got the support that you need.
Yeah, and being both sides of the fence on this particular issue, is definitely something that I know from your side of from your point of view. Yes, you want to drive the greater results, but from it's not going to be something that happens overnight, right? I mean, you cannot give someone 18 years of experience through a training class, right? I mean, somebody put in the chat here, as a pro advisor for almost 18 years, I'm better than most of your support team with a few exceptions. if you had someone with 18 years of experience in support, hello, raising my hand, yeah, they'd be pretty good. And it's very hard to get someone with 18 years of experience on the customer support side of the house, or train that.
Right.
Because
Yes.
training is never the answer. It's got to come from experience.
Experience, yes.
And that experience is going to come from bad mistakes, where you make some mistakes. So where are you focused on first with regards to the changeover and the enhancement to support and customer care?
When you say where we focused first, could you be more specific, Dan?
Yeah, I think you had said yesterday that payroll is the accountant support for payroll is where you're starting first. Is that?
So that was So that when I mentioned payroll and payments, I was talking specifically about the knowledge articles that our agents use to support the questions. So that was the first set on that side. What we're doing is we're starting with accountants first. We're also working to ensure that as we go through our pro advisor tiers, our top tiers get the improvements first, and then we're rolling it out down through each of those, right? So elite, platinum, gold, and then silver is how we're sequencing the improvements. We're also trialing some work right now, to your point on the time that it takes to do training. A big driver of why it takes so long to get an agent fully trained is that we train we train our agents on both desktop and QuickBooks Online. And so what we're also trying is a single threaded training where we're going to have desktop focused agents and online focused agents to accelerate that training time so that they can be in the seat, to your point, Dan, and be taking calls sooner and begin getting that experience.
Yeah. So I want to launch the last poll that speaks specifically to that. Have you experienced any positive changes when you've contacted accountant payroll support specifically? Yes, it's better. Can't tell the difference. Haven't needed to call yet, right? So if you haven't needed to call, you wouldn't know.
Yeah. And I would just like to say, Ted, that I do appreciate you and everyone else addressing support and everything, because what happens is, to a lot of us who, yes, we are longtime QuickBooks people, longtime pro advisors, some of us 20 years and a lot. Anyway, we got used to that really good support. And when you get used to something that's really good and it's onshore and they know what you're talking about and they can help you quickly, then to see it deteriorate and to get bad, it hurts even worse, because we knew what we had and we knew how good it could be. And so, that is really important to a lot of us, because, like I remember when I was starting my firm and on my own and stuff, that was like my coworkers. It was like a peer that I could reach out to for that help, because I was working on my own. So whenever I had a client and I didn't know how to fix it or what to do, I had pro advisor support there. So when you take away that lifeline, it hurts even more, because it's something we got used to depending on. And then when it's gone, people miss it even more. So I'm really glad to see you all taking the resources and the time and energy to really address it and improve it. And to all the pro advisors and everybody out there, please be patient with them. Evidently, they've heard us and they're listening. You have to give them time, because it doesn't change overnight, so give them a few months.
I appreciate that, Michelle.
I actually needed to call. I needed to call support yesterday, and when they answered, I knew exactly what I needed. I didn't get what I needed, and then I got the email saying, "How did we do?"
Yeah.
Yeah, the two final pieces on this, just for everybody's visibility. What I'm discovering is that those of you who are logged in and you use the call me back feature, you get a vastly better experience than if you call in on the number directly right now. And so that would be a behavioral hack, if you will, that I would encourage all of you to do. When you're logged in, what we can do is we know who you are. We actually probably know what your issue is, and therefore we can have you routed to the right team for the callback, so that you're not doing what Dan, you were just articulating, which was having to provide all this information and then not get the answer that you needed because you needed to maybe get to a different team. I don't know your issue. I'm just hearing about it for the first time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was
So
late
that'd
last
be
night.
the,
So it was- and
Yeah.
to the benefit, it covered every layer of platforms. There was online, there was enterprise, there was pro and Mac, all thrown in the same
Oh,
call.
wow.
So I didn't expect the first call resolution, but I did want it to go to data services, and I didn't
Mhm.
get that. So that I need to follow up on.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I really appreciate this. I think it's great. I love to see the new features coming out in desktop. There are some exciting new things out there and everything. And I'm really glad to see the attention given to support. So, hopefully I'm going to go ahead and end this poll, Dan, or minimize it here. So hopefully everybody will be giving him some slack on that. There's a lot of questions in the chat and in the Q&A. And so we will make sure that we share all of your feedback with Ted and the team so everybody knows what you all are saying and they're listening to your feedback. All right, Dan, last comments?
No, I think if nothing else for support, if you use that, I think the big takeaway is if you're using that callback, because that's what they mentioned to me on the phone, is that, next time use the callback, because you're already in the program, you're already, got your information already in there, you're kind of get to the right person, the right time, or the first time, with what it is that you're trying to do. I think if nothing else, that is a value add to the webinar today, if you just change that function. But yeah, in upcoming webinars, we have the QBO advanced users and roles, and then customer service for accounting firms. So we are booked out for the rest of the year with the upcoming webinars. So I hope you keep continuing to join us for the QB Power Hour.
And don't forget to join us for the webinars and VCons at qbtrainingevents.com, and go ahead and register for QuickBooks Connect. You see the link right there. That's coming up, and it is free. We'd love to have you join us for that as well. Sorry, Dan.
Thank you, Ted and Sean, for joining us today. I appreciate your insights for our community as well. And thanks again.
Thanks,
everybody. Have a great day.